There are times when I feel like Star Wars is my nemesis. Because every time, well, actually, I guess I should say, everyone who's not me, who writes in the sci-fi setting, because every time I seem to have an idea, and I start working on it, there's a big project that has something like that in it. Maybe I'm not creative. No, I don't think that's what it is. I think there's a zeitgeist. There's a spirit that moves through everything creative and guides us towards similar ideas. But that's neither here nor there. Today I want to talk about how The Mandalorian has completely changed my WIP. Yeah, okay, so I started working, when I started working on Our Solemn Hour, I knew that The Mandalorian was going to happen. And as such, I knew that there were going to be some similarities between my space fantasy and their space fantasy. And then they decided to go a completely different way with the Mandalorians than they have in the canon Star Wars so far. They don't take their masks off. When Sabine Wren clearly took her mask off, when we went to Mandalore in the Clone Wars, they clearly took their masks off. But no, in The Mandalorian, the helmet stays on. You can take it off, but if you do, you can never put it back on. Well, this is causing me some problems because I became obsessed with an Etruscan word that I have developed my own headcanon around and have decided to pull into my setting and play with, and that's the idea of the Firzu. This would be one of the religions that's present in the setting and has major ramifications for the story, so I can't cut them out. And they wear masks, and they don't take them off. And they have reasons for it, but it's not the same reasons that the Mandalorians have. But I'm going to have to explain that because now it looks like I'm copying the Mandalorian, even though I'm not. Because the Mandalorians that we had in canon weren't like that, but now they are. So what I've decided to do, and whether it's a good idea or not, is to take some time and actually write a novella. Actually, probably 2 or 3 novellas from the point of view of one of these characters. One, because I want to be writing right now and I'm not ready to write the novel, but I am ready to tell some of this backstory. So, yeah, I'm going to do that. And when I actually look at the lengths that I'm shooting for, they're probably not going to be novellas. They're going to be novelettes, about 19,200 words, somewhere around there. And I'm going to tell their story, and in telling their story, one, I can explore for myself how the Firzu work in this setting. I can figure out exactly how this is going to impact everything and how it's going to play out. And for anybody who reads it, it gives an explanation for how they work in the world. Is it the best solution? Probably not. But it allows me to do a couple things that I want to do. It allows me to start writing in the sci-fi setting that I don't have words for how much I want to be writing in the sci-fi setting right now. Yeah, I know if you've been listening to the podcast, I've been very kind of trepidatious about doing this because it's been such a long time since I've written sci-fi. But I'm kind of burnt out on high fantasy, and my first love is truly space opera. It's space fantasy. That's where my heart is. I grew up on He-Man and Voltron and Star Wars, and I like writing space fantasy. I always have, and so I'm very glad to be back at it. It's just, while I don't feel like I have to respond to every little thing that happens in pop culture, I need to be careful to make sure that it doesn't appear that I'm doing knockoffs. Because, well, this is a story idea that I have been working on for probably 20 years, when I really think about it. Or longer, actually. Ooh, oh, wow. I'm old. See, back in the 90s, I started work on my first novel. And it is a hot piece of garbage. It is a trash fire of epic proportions. But there are some characters and some species and some things in it that I've always loved and I've wanted to do stuff with. And so when I started working on the current space opera, I decided to bring them along. And this isn't the first time that I've done this. I actually brought some of them along into Liquid Sky, which is my first book that actually made it out of the house and into the world. But I love these characters, and I love some of the ideas behind them. And they mean so much to me. And I've been working on them off and on for so long. I don't want to compromise what it is that I'm doing so that the stories don't look like copies of other things. But at the same time, I feel like I really need to make sure that people understand that that's not what I'm doing. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe this is just me overthinking everything and just thinking too much. I'd really love to know what you all think about that, because that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the YouTube, because there are no comments on a podcast, and I really want to have a discussion about this, because I don't think it's too much to do to try to, and I'm not writing, let me say it this way, I'm not writing this novelette to explain away the masks. I'm not writing this novelette just to be like, see, look, I'm not doing the Mandalorian. I'm doing this because the character means so much to me. And I just want to be writing with them. And there's not going to be a place in the novel to talk about this character's origin story. I mean, it might make it referenced here, there, and yonder, but how he came to be who he is such an interesting story for me. And especially since the story is going to be, the book's mainly going to be about another character's origin story and how she becomes the character she wants to be. And the period of time between these two events, I'm probably not going to be able to tell his story. So I like the idea of being able to tell his story. And I'm probably going to give it away for free. It'll probably be a story magnet that I put on the newsletter because I just want people to read it. And then we'll see what happens after that. I know, I'm overthinking everything, but it's that time of year. It's December, we're all thinking about what we're doing next year, and I've got so much I want to do, from getting the Epic Fantasy Store trilogy edited and out, and getting this new space fantasy Magitech, Magipunk, space story, sci-fi story out into the world. There's so much I want to do next year. And it's these little things that just nitpick at me and eat at me. But I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. I would love to know what you're working on. I really would. Because, I don't know, finding out what other writers are doing and the issues that other writers are having really does help me out a lot, because it makes me feel less alone. And that's what AuthorTube really is all about, isn't it? At least for me. Alright, so I guess this is the point where I'm supposed to say things like, please like and subscribe. Like this video if you liked it, and subscribe if you want to see more. I put out new videos periodically. I'm still trying to find a schedule for doing this, because I don't know what my schedule is going to be, but I do want to be doing it more often. Especially more of these like candid chat stuff. I think I'm going to do more of, I don't know. Well, let me know what you think. But please like, subscribe, hit that bell. If you want to help me out, you'll find links to my podcast and my Patreon and everything down in the thingy, wherever it is. It's down there. Anywho, until next time, yeah, I'm writing a novelette. Don't forget, have the fun.